Well, hello there, everyone. Today is Thursday, April the 29th, and it's my pleasure to bring the most recent update for the city of Belleville as we deal with COVID-19. And this will be the last video for the month of April. And while I don't wish away time, we are one day closer to these most recent restrictions on the province-wide shutdown and the stay-at-home orders and the business closures that have been mandated by the provincial government. So I am excited about getting into the month of May. We know that we will see a little bit more return to normal. Certainly the city of Belleville is expecting that a lot of our services, including those at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Centre, will be back in business after the Victoria day-long weekend. And so we're almost there. We can see some of that end line in sight. As I have been doing for the last 14 months or so, I'll start off with a little bit of an update on where we are in our community. As of the middle of this week, we had about 84 active cases in our region. That brought us up to a total of 907 cases since the beginning of COVID. The bulk of those have been in this third wave, and so it reminds us that we have to still be careful. Follow those 3 W's, as I always talk about. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and watch your distance. We still are concerned about particularly what we call those variants of concern. On the bright side, we are now over 65,000 residents in our area, our health unit area, that have received vaccines, including almost 4,000 who have received both doses. And those are really, really important numbers as we get to the herd immunity levels that we need to be able to safely reopen all of our businesses and go back to our activities that we miss so much. We have had a reduction in the number of vaccines available for our region, as was forecast, but I can tell you that typically we get about 3,700 or less per week for the entire Hastings and Prince Edward Health Unit region. Yesterday I was on a call where we were looking at what we're predicting for the future, and in about 2 weeks from now we'll be receiving over 10,000 doses per week, which is significant. It's almost 3 times what we have been in the past each and every week. And so we will have a lot of vaccines available for our region in the coming weeks. I encourage everyone to get their vaccine when they can. Here's a picture of me last week where I received my AstraZeneca vaccine. I was very pleased to get the AstraZeneca vaccine because I know a lot of people have been talking about whether it's safe or not. I completely feel it's safe. It was so safe, I got it myself. And I encourage you to get whatever vaccine is available for you whenever you can, as soon as you can. That is what we need to have there. So thank you very much to Pharmacist Nilay at the Shoppers Drug Mart on Dundas Street East for doing it. It was quick and painless. And as I said, I encourage everyone to get their vaccine. Another little piece of news that we got, which I want to share, is just some success. One of the things that I love being, best in class. I like it when I hear about how Belleville is, really, really good at something. And when it comes to COVID-19 testing, that first of all, it's administered by Quinte Healthcare. They sort of run that system in this region. They, along with the health unit and our paramedics who do remote testing as they go to people's homes and do testing there. We have had almost 130,000 COVID-19 tests since the beginning of this pandemic. That makes us the #1 region on a per capita basis to get tests. That is amazing news. And it's so important because if you are tested and the more tests you have, the more accurate the numbers are about the statistics of COVID in our area. But more importantly, if you are tested and you are found to have COVID, then our contact tracing process kicks in. And what that is that, let's say that I went and got my COVID test this morning. They called me later on today and said, you are positive. They would then get a list from me of all the places I've been, all the people I've come into contact with that could possibly be exposed. And then they call those folks, they track them down. And right now, we are on a 48-hour basis. We are seeing 99.8% of all potential contacts are reached. They are given a warning about the fact you may have been exposed to someone with COVID. They're asked to go and get their own test. They're asked to take measures, self-quarantine or other health measures. And that is what really has kept our numbers down so well. So congratulations to all the folks at Hastings and Prince Edward Health for the wonderful contact tracing process. And congratulations to all of us who have had COVID tests over the last little while. We're number one in all of Ontario, and I think likely number one in all of Ontario because of that. This week we did have a Belleville City Council meeting. There were a number of things that we took care of, including the BDIA request for one-way street again this summer in downtown Belleville, as well as the reestablishment of parklets and outdoor patio spaces. And so they were hugely successful last year, and we are looking forward to another successful year this summer. We're also looking forward to our pop-ups. Pop-ups in the Bay return to West Zwick's Park. We have more selection this year. Here is a list of all the vendors that will be there. That project starts in June. We'll give more information, but we are expecting a very, very good summer. I'm not sure how the weather's going to be yet. I know we're not going to be worrying about flooding of the Bay of Quinte, but we are looking forward to getting back out again and enjoying our outdoor amenities and our beautiful, beautiful geography outdoors. As I was just talking about pop-ups, I also want to talk about what we call the pop-ups on the Bay mural that we'll be doing. So we have a call for artists to submit their design concepts for a pop-up unit mural to be painted on site at West Zwick's Park. So if you are somebody who is a little creative and you like to paint and you have some ideas, we'd ask you to think about this. Here's some information on the screen. We will pay $1,200 to the person that's selected to do the mural to have their vision come to life, as well as we'll reimburse them for their supplies. So more information is available at the popupsonthebay.ca website. But if you are someone or you know someone with a bit of a creative touch, please feel free to do it. We look forward to that. Springtime is always construction season. This is when a lot of our projects start. And so we have a number of infrastructure projects taking place throughout Belleville, including work that is now the second half of the Saganaska Bridge, the Pinnacle Street Bridge that goes over the Moira River. But we also are doing work on the Moira Street Lower Bridge, Sydney Street. We start that part of the project this year. We did Bell Boulevard last year. Now we're doing the work along Sydney Street, and there's many more projects around the city. So I just ask everyone to understand that we do this construction when we can, and to be patient. Yes, I know it's an inconvenience and it slows you down, but nothing compared to folks that live in some of the big cities like Toronto that they have to experience. We're still very, very lucky, and we're investing in our infrastructure to do more. Here is a picture of Glenn Munro. And Glenn Munro was a 19-year city employee. He is the tree supervisor with our outdoor operations department. And earlier this week, Glenn was driving to work and he saw flames coming out of a house on, I believe it was on Ridley Street. And so he very quickly drove over to the house, got out, went and banged on the door. There were two occupants inside the house that weren't aware it was on fire. And so Glenn truly saved these gentlemen's lives. And we are so proud of our employees all the time, but especially when we see someone who risked their own life to save their residents. And here is a presentation that I made to him to recognize his life-saving activities. And we're so proud of all of our employees. But today we're especially proud of Glenn. We're grateful that he works for the city of Belleville and he cares about his citizens. And the last thing I talk about before I talk about the footbridge here is this week the family of the Spiegel's family. So the folks that have Sid Spiegel is a longtime businessman from Belleville and owns a lot of property around the city. This week the Spiegel family made a $250,000 donation to the Hospice Quinte Heart and Home campaign. And here's a picture of Sid Spiegel's son, Ben, presenting a check to Jennifer May Anderson for that $250,000. And this is a huge accomplishment because that means that Hospice Quinte and their Heart and Home campaign are now at 80% achieved on their $9.5 million capital campaign target. So that is wonderful news. They are making good progress on the construction of that new facility. They expect to be open after the Thanksgiving weekend in October. Things are going really well, and we just want to thank everybody who's contributed to their campaign, including the residents of Belleville, because we've made a $1 million campaign contribution to that project, and we thank everybody for all their support and cooperation. You know, all of us are going to find a time when we are at the end of our lives, and Hospice Quinte allows it to be dignified and to be compassionate. so that we can deal with that when, unfortunately, the time will come for all of us. So here I am at the foot of the Catherine Street footbridge, also known as the Ben Cork footbridge, which was named by the mayor and council. George Zagoras was the mayor when they dedicated this bridge to former Mayor Ben Cork. But this bridge, after a lot of delay while we had to wait for upper level government's approval, is going to be replaced. And so this bridge has served Belleville very, very well in the past, but a new bridge is going to look fantastic here. And we have started to prepare for the work to be done in May and June and July when we're allowed to, based on the water levels and the permissions we get from governments. But this is going to be a huge addition. I know it's been really tough for folks, particularly those that used to be able to come into the downtown area. They've had to go around. We are so looking forward to being able to open this bridge. It's a long time coming, but I'm excited to be able to see that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is I'm wearing my Belleville Senators jacket today. And, you know, it has been a really disappointing time for us that are fans of the Belleville Senators. When the AHL had to stop in 2020, the Belleville Senators were division leaders, having an incredible season, ready to be in the playoffs. And unfortunately, the season had to be canceled. And I think about a year ago right now is when I made an announcement that we had taken the ice out of the CA Arena, which meant the end of the AHL season that year. This year they have persevered, not here in Belleville. They've been playing their home games out of the Canadian Tire Centre in Ottawa, but they have been playing. The big B on their jersey is being across the country. They've played in Calgary and Winnipeg and Toronto and Montreal and of course in Ottawa in this Canadian division. And they haven't had the success they did in 2020, but it's a completely different year and there have been a lot of changes on the NHL side that affect their roster. But you know, Mr. Melnick is committed to building a winning team here in our community. We love our Belleville Senators, and we're looking forward to them getting back on the ice, hopefully this fall, if everything goes the way that we are planned, to be back to normal operations in the fall of 2021 and get back to some semblance of normal, including watching our beloved Belleville Senators. So with that, that's my update for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please share this if you have anyone that you know would like to see this for these updates. Follow our YouTube channel where you can get all updates from the City of Belleville, including our City Council meetings and announcements that we'll be making. But stay safe. Look forward to getting back to you next week.